Imagine you're at a desk with a monitor in front of you. On it are two games, Valorant and the critically acclaimed Baldur's Gate. The choice is easy, right? But suddenly you get that strong itch to play Valorant, so you give in. You play a game, lose, play another, lose again. You're mad, you're frustrated, but it's okay, the night is still young, and you can switch to another game. As you're about to exit, that itch comes right back. Just one more. Just one more. What is that itch? And why do you get it? It's an addiction to the video game reward system. For Valorant, it is the ranking system. Whether you win or lose a ranked match in Valorant, both motivate you to play another match. When you win, you feel excited. You see numbers go up. You might even be the match MVP. Everything is pointing to the fact that you are him. So how can you quit right now? When you lose, you're sad. Not only did your rank go down, you're bad. But you're not bad, so you chase your losses. This cycle continues every 40 minutes, on time that's not too short, making you constantly question what to play next, and not too long either. It is just the right amount of time for a small commitment out of your day. But there's an even stronger reward system inside the game, killing people. I can't describe how good it feels when your gunshot rings out alongside a kill confirmation. And when you get an ace, the announcement, your team congratulations, it is addicting. It is so addicting in fact that PRX, one of the best teams in the world, sometimes succumbs to this, throwing rounds and pissing off their coach. This reward is present in other competitive games as well. In Apex, it is the armor cracking with the knockdown. In CSGO, it is the headshots. League of Legends literally says, you have slain the enemy. This surge of dopamine keeps you hooked inside the game, and outside of it, your ego is tied to the ranking system. For MMO players, it is a little different. I could never understand why players would play a game designed to waste your time. Until recently, I got addicted to MapleStory. I'm saying it up front, this game is garbage, tedious mob grinding and bullshit boss mechanic. Yet despite all of this, I still have 200 plus hours in this game. The reason is because of progression. It feels good to get stronger, to be better. You think about YouTube 100 days meta, even if it's not your own, it feels good to watch other people progress in a short period of time. How I got to Immortal in 1 month, Minecraft building time lapses. MMOs mimic this by making the early game super fast. You quickly go from dealing 20 damage to one mob at a time to suddenly clearing the whole screen and 10-digit damage numbers a few hours later. Of course, it is not just levels. Destiny 1's progression, for example, is tied to gear. When you open up that chest and see that orange, exotic engram, you know you're in for a real treat. I think Angry Joe says this the best.
Whoa. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. This is the kind of stuff that makes the game addicting. This is the kind of stuff that you want to see. Well, what is another legendary? Well, let me grind for another few fucking hours so I can see another, gun model. And another one. And another one.
But usually it is not enough to just get the weapon. Then you have to spend millions of gold to upgrade it. There's still a further component tied to the weapon. This is the case with gacha games. After spending all that effort to get that sexy, hot character in the S tier, you wouldn't leave her in the dirt by not upgrading her, will you? So you spend the money to get duplicate copies of her, and finally, you can see her in all of her glory. So even if the gameplay is boring, you still feel the rush as you get new levels, items, or characters. Eventually though, progression slows down to a sniffling crawl. And it would be most logical at this point that most players would quit. But they don't. Why? This is where the sunk cost fallacy comes in. Since I've already spent 200 hours to get to this point, so I must keep grinding to cash out on the time I've invested. To keep players from burning out, dailies and weeklies are introduced from 10 minutes a day up to an hour, or maybe even more. Again, that perfect amount of commitment time. These quests are usually tied to progression, and if you do it for a week or maybe even a whole month, you just might Starforce your weapon to that next level, tasting that 2-second glory before it all starts to crumble away. But the real dangerous part is building that habit to constantly chase for that high. Developers understand this, which is why progression is very clear and visual. Can you imagine grinding for XP, but there's no level bar to tell you when you're going to level up? That would suck, and you would quit. Well, isn't that life? Whether it's getting better at video games, being more buff, or learning to code, there's no progression bar. You can give yourself daily quests to do them, but there's no reward right afterwards. You don't get that notification of being 0.001% closer to your goal. Real life progression is also not linear, and you just randomly level up. It is why gamers, or just people in general, end up quitting their goal. MMO's progression is clear and guaranteed. This is completely opposite of great games like The Last of Us, Baldur's Gate, and Elden Ring, which are random and unpredictable. Take The Last of Us for example. The whole game is great, but you wouldn't say any scene particularly stands out because they're built upon one another. Ellie's giraffe scene is only beautiful and serene because of all the shit she has been through. The game is not meant to be played on an hour-by-hour basis, which means that outstanding moments are few and far between because everything before it is simply good. Unlike League of Legends, where you can have a miserable time and then suddenly be the happiest man on earth if you win the game, despite its addicting stuff. Exploration type games like Elden Ring and Hollow Knight suffer from the same consequences. The world is fun, but some places are just better than others. Godskin Apostle was way more interesting than fighting this mimic dude. The variance between launching the game and getting to the peak of content varies too much to simply play Elden Ring for an hour and get off. I guess this all just comes down to ease of access. It is easier to mentally prepare yourself for a 1 hour gaming session 7 times than it is to prepare yourself for a 7-hour session 1 time. And that is why you want to play an addicting game over a good game. I was an addicted gamer that mindlessly played League of Legends for 7 years. But if I was able to break free from that, then you can too. Peace out.